So Annette, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Chris. I'm so happy to be here. Let's go. I have so
So
much to tell you.
absolutely. So let's hop in. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and Nuudii Systems.
Okay, so I'm Annette Azan. I'm the CEO and founder of Nuudii Systems. And Nuudii System is a brand of boobwear that falls in between bras and going braless. So we're creating a brand new category in a very old market called bras.
I love that. Now, first off, before we get into Nuudii Systems, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to found this organization.
Yeah, well, so for my entire career, I've actually been in the fashion industry. Actually, in the business side, not the design side. I ran companies for everybody from Norma Kamali. The last person I worked for formally before Nuudii was Donna Karen, helping her build her private company, Urban Zen. I had been in retailing, branding, marketing, all of the above, never design. But I founded Nuudii, and out of my own eagerness to wear a wedding dress 11 years ago, and I couldn't find what I needed. The dress was very skin bearing, and the fabric was so light that nothing worked underneath. And so, like any great founder story, it was really out of my frustration. 2 weeks before my wedding, I was thinking, what can I do? Can I find something, that could work, and I make something myself? And that's kind of how it started. But, I come with a lot of knowledge, like a lot of startup founders are like straight out of college with an idea, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I had, years of experience. So I really knew what I was going into from a business standpoint. What I didn't know was the challenges I would have in this idea and bringing it to market. But, I can tell you about that. Happy to share that part with you as well.
Well, obviously, bras are a fairly large asset class or product category, whatever you want to call it. But you're talking about kind of, moving the needle. There's braless and there's bras, and you're going somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about, I've heard of strapless bras and things like that. How is this differentiating from things that have existed to try and be, less so appearing, when you're wearing certain clothing?
Yeah. So bras were really invented to reshape women. So bras were invented, they came on the scene in the 20s. So we've been at it for 100 years of reshaping. And if you kind of look at the history of it, at the beginning, it was actually just something that you just band around your chest and like a handkerchief, and it just bound you and it flattened you in the 20s, right? Because that was what was in. And then if you think about the 40s, there were bullet bras, which is kind of weird because, the war was happening. So it's like, I mean, if you see the evolution of that, and then like in the 70s, the Wonder Bra came about, which made, Victoria's Secret kind of glommed onto that and made them, very, very, a billion-dollar company, and that was like, oh, we're going to make you bigger and higher and push you up and push you in and all these things. And the Wonder Bra was actually, I mean, they did business for such a long time. And so that's really the inherent nature of bras, is to reshape women. So what Nuudii does is it does not reshape you. That's why we do not call it a bra. We call it boobwear. It's in its own category. It really hugs your natural shape. It doesn't do anything, so you're not braless, but you also don't have on a bra. So that's the biggest differentiation. Also, every product that we have designed has functionality to it. So it has our core product, which is the T system, has over 12 different ways of wearing. So it's really for real life. It's about making living with boobs simple, which it's not in the bra world. It is, women's bodies change. One day you could be this size, the next day you could be this size. Like Nuudii changes with you because it starts with the flexibility of the fabric. But our core product has 12 different ways of wearing. So, you want to wear one shoulder, you just pull the straps over and you're wearing a one shoulder. You want to wear something that's cut in, you push the straps this way and it cuts in. But there's no hardware, so it's not fussy. It's just has a utility that was missing in the market. And also it's just a chance for women to just say like, hey, like I'm all right with myself. I don't need to be reshaped. It's like not buying into that we're not okay, we're not enough, we're too much, whatever the bra industry has been telling us all these years. So it is really, really different.
Well, I think it fits in nicely with kind of just overall, right, like body positive trends
Yes.
that I think we see across the board. You talk about kind of, the evolution and the Wonder Bra and things like that. If this is kind of the next frontier of where you see things going, what do you think it's going to take to really make this mainstream?
Yeah, so I love to say, especially for the men in the crowd. So I like to say Nuudii's like leggings. So leggings actually came out in the 70s, and you would only find really thin women wearing large, oversized t-shirts in the gym. That was it. Like, because nobody wanted to really show their bodies, right? Leggings covered the same parts of the body as pants, but it was completely different. But if you fast forward, till today, which is like what, 50 years, now you see women are all right showing their legs and their hips and their butts, like women of all sizes, women of all ages. So there is an evolution to the being comfortable, like coming back to that. So leggings is really a wonderful comparison because it also fits in your life in many different ways. So you can sleep in them, you can travel in them, you can dress them up with high heels under a jacket, you can wear them in sports. Nuudii is like that. So we're at the first adopter point where we're just scratching the surface of like when women get it, we are really careful to manage their expectations, right, with our branding and marketing so that they know it is not a bra, because we have to chip away at like everything that's on your boobs is a bra. But then when they get it, they realize like, oh, yes, I do look like myself. Yes, it feels different. Yes, it's different in my life. So we're just scratching that surface to getting to, it's going to be years to mass market. But what we've seen, and I'm sure you've been looking at our numbers, is there's massive adoption, and it's like getting like bigger and bigger and bigger. There's massive
What is
adoption.
the
so you
feedback
can
that
see
you've
that
been
it's
hearing
getting,
from your
bigger and
customers? What do
bigger.
they love about it? And what do
Whoops,
they
you're frozen.
find like really different from their day-to-day experience with a traditional bra?
At the beginning when we launched 5 years ago, which we launched on Kickstarter because we really wanted to get in front of the first adopters to see, what their response was going to be, and it was excellent. We were not sure if the bigger woman would adopt it because they're kind of used to just like, we need things that really compress us and really da-da. And it wasn't as adopted by larger women then. But what we've seen in the 5 years is completely changed, so much so that we actually added extra large, which is also one of our biggest selling sizes now. So
Wow.
it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, you've obviously had great success. You're growing fast. It's been largely kind of direct to consumer to date. As you look to really scale up the business, what are some of the key drivers? Is it wholesale? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we've dabbled a little bit in wholesale, but so one of the things that I know, and this is from my experience, and I kind of kick myself because I maybe started in wholesale a little bit too early because we started with Nordstrom, is larger stores, especially department stores, they do not have the bandwidth to educate customers. This is something different, and it takes education, and I can talk about that and how that has been like a pinnacle to our success. So if Nuudii's just sitting there in a little package, okay, like no salesperson is going to kind of like, I mean, we're lucky if they understand it, right? I mean, they're not going to read people because people don't read, whatever. So we have to really get to critical mass before we start going into department stores in a major way, just because they just don't have the customer service there. Where I do see us, and we have just started to go into boutiques, and that has been really successful. So last year, we did our first fashion trade show, actually this year, I'm sorry, in February. We did the Coterie show, and we did the fashion trade show instead of going the route of intimates, because really Nuudii helps people to sell clothing. And like the success of Spanx, right? Spanx sits there, it helps a woman buy that dress, right? Or buy that pair of pants to make it look better. That's really where I think the sweet spot is with Nuudii. And so we're going to continue to go the route of boutiques until we can get that brand awareness that we need to go into the department stores, that people just have brand recognition as soon as they go in, and they don't need the salesperson to kind of tell them what it is.
Got it. Well, I was about to ask, would you ever
Yeah.
think about brick and mortar and having your own locations, right? Like an Untuckit for men, right? Like there's all these kind of individual stores with specific things, but it sounds like the selling alongside clothes is actually an essential part of helping people understand the value
Yeah.
proposition.
But, our model is such, and I'll show you the packaging again, is that it's small. Nuudii never is going to be tried on in a store. It doesn't need to, because again, it goes back to the design and fabrication, which is just like great. So we have modeled out vending machines. We've also been talking about, going into vending machines instead of having a store, just having a vending machine in a mall, okay, which is much more cost effective. But then on the outside of the vending machine, because Nuudii is very visual, like because you have the ways of wearing, like video is great for us and people love video today, is that you have those videos, which is selling the product, and then you just go and you get your Nuudii done.
That's really
Controlled
smart,
in a
right?
vending machine. It can be in airports, it can be in college campuses, in malls. We do not need to have a large store.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And it's certainly something like with Spanx, to your point, it's like one of those things when you need it, right?
Yes.
And it's that quick purchase. I need to do this. I'm headed to a wedding, whatever it may
Yes.
be. And now you're able to manage it.
Yeah.
You talk about all of the kind of different ways of being able to wear it, which I think creates versatility of being able to utilize it in many different ways. So for people who are wearing, strapless dresses or things like that, can this work really in all situations? Are there limitations at all? Is this more everyday wear? What is that?
Yeah, so it's everyday wear, okay, but we are going into, and we have gone into some specialty. So we have a halter style, which would be considered specialty. We have a strapless style, which we're actually reintroducing next month, which is a specialty. But the core of our business is your everyday, right? That's where people spend most of their time and spend most of their money. So we have a little bit of everything for everybody right now. The great thing is that it's unusual. I've never seen this before, where a product spans generations. So I work actually with my two daughters who are in their 20s. Everybody that I put this in the hands of says, oh, my daughter would love this. And then every daughter said, oh, my mom would love this. And so we are cross-pollinating all generations. I mean, we have customers that are 65 plus. And I'll tell you a funny story. So I have an ad. When we were testing pretty early on, I was living in Sag Harbor, and a friend of mine had her mother who was in her 90s, and I was like, oh, I wonder what she would think of Nuudii. So I put her in a Nuudii, and I took a video of her. Well, that video today is running as an ad. It is doing so well. I mean, it's been running for months. It has brought in so many sales because, it's truly organic, because you kind of see her and she's trying it on and she's like, oh, it's so comfortable. I had a little hard time getting it over my head, but like 94. And so our market is so broad, unlike other types of intimates brands. Mm-hmm. It's just exciting.
Right now, your kind of go-to-market strategy is direct to consumer. Can you talk about kind of your marketing strategy and how you've been able to grow sales into the millions of dollars?
Yeah. So last year was a huge jump for us. We went viral on TikTok. My team all the people on TikTok are just on my team. And what we found was it was such a great tool for just educating people and just being real. Like that's part of our ethos, is just like, we're never going to say we're for everybody, because nothing's for everybody, not even Apple. Okay, so, but one of them hit. We got over 5 million people eyes on Nuudii. We had a $60,000 day. It was like, we didn't even know we could do that much in a day. It was just crazy. Wow. People just started to stream in, and then ever since then, it was just like a $40,000 day, $20,000 day, until we basically ran out of merchandise. That was like last year around this time. So what we did was, okay, we knew the strategy is educate people, use our team members. We do not use any money for influencers. Anybody that you see on TikTok, which, of course, people were buying and then they were posting, Those are all people who bought, keeping it real. So that has been like part of our marketing and branding, is like, tell the truth, show up, be ourselves, and this is our team. And also my daughters are an essential part of the company. So right now we're going to continue with e-com because, again, we need to educate and we need to kind of keep it close to that, to, close to us. And then continue with the boutiques and wholesale. We're now talking to distributors. Because we launched on Kickstarter, we had the great advantage of going global immediately because we were shipping to customers in 40 different countries. So now we know we've identified the countries that are strong. So we're about to go into a distribution agreement in Europe, which covers like Germany and things like that. We are speaking with some people in Canada, which is also a big market for us. So global is very, very important to us, to be able to reach those customers who already know the product. So those two things are important, and then building out our boutiques. Then next year, we can see going to department stores again when we have more brand awareness.
Now, as you think about kind of scaling up and, using kind of this strategy of social media where you can have those viral hits and you could sell out, from a manufacturing perspective, is that something you guys manage in-house? Is that something that you've outsourced contract manufactured so you could scale up if you need to? How are you managing the actual operations of the manufacturing of these products?
Originally, we were manufacturing here in the U.S. That's how we developed with a manufacturer here. But during COVID, he actually he decided to kind of decrease his manufacturing. So we are now manufacturing in Turkey. We have a partner who has set up manufacturing just for Nuudii. So it's like great. I mean, we're always the priority, which is a good thing. It's made a different way. So it does take some time for a manufacturer to get up and like be able to train his people. But of course, we are now going into some different categories. We've did a little like fashion capsule this year just to test it out. Not that we want to go deep into that, but we wanted to kind of pair things with Nuudii. Instead of showing Nuudii with a pair of pants or a top that's somebody else's, why not sell our own? That was very successful, so we used a different manufacturer for that. We are going to be launching swim this June. So we have another manufacturer for that. So we are using other manufacturers for other categories, and that's going to be part of our growth.
Now, one of the questions I always kind of hate from investors is, well, if this becomes so popular, why wouldn't anyone else do it, right? Why doesn't Victoria's Secret just adopt this and do this, or any of the other major bra companies? I tend to say what incumbent disrupts themselves, but do you see this just becoming the standard norm? The bra category is reinvented and this is everywhere and everything, and all the bra companies don't really exist as they do today? Or do you see you just becoming a really big player and one of the bra companies wanting to buy you up? How do you think about the future from that perspective?
So it's interesting. The bra industry is not innovative. They would have never spent the time and money that it took to develop this product. It took us 5 years. I mean, I know because I work in the industry. It's like no way they would spend 5 years to try to figure this out. Number one. Number two, we have IP. Super important. We have a utility patent on our products because it actually does cover many of our products. We also, before we came out with our T system, which is the foundation product, it has 12 different ways of wearing, and we actually got a design patent on the most essential 8 ways of wearing, which we have enforced. We had somebody who actually knocked us off, a big company. I won't say who they are. They did a bodysuit. They used also our type of branding around it with 12 plus ways of wearing, and we shut them down. So we now have 3 approved patents. We have 3 more that are close to being approved for anything that we come out that is really different. So we do have IP around it to protect ourselves. And I remember my lawyer saying at the beginning, we can, we're going to secure your patent as much as we can, but the best thing you can do is really go out with marketing in a strong way and really make your name for ourselves. And that's what we do. We have very different types of marketing, which is all done in-house. We know exactly who we are. and our wording and boobwear, and we are going to own this category between bra and braless. That is called boobwear, and that is attached to Nuudii.
One other question for you. As you think about the future, are there expansionary categories you'd like to apply this technology, this comfort wear to?
Well, every other day, can you do something for men? So we have expanded. Before we did fashion, we did expand to buttwear. We also expanded to bodywear with our bodysuits, which has been wildly successful. Like we didn't even know. We had no idea. And so yes, we're drawing off of the patents now to create swimwear. Again, same design patent covers it. Bodywear, bodysuits, same design patents cover it so that we're protected again and that we can build. The great thing about Nuudii with our two-strap design is it's Nuudii immediately when you see it. Whereas a seamless, like a Skims bra to a Harper Wild bra, you wouldn't really know the difference if you looked at it. Mm-hmm. They all kind of look alike unless you see the logo. So we can really use that to our advantage.
Really cool. As you think, 2 to 3 years down the road from here, what does success look like for Nuudii?
2 to 3 years, I'd like to have reached close to 20 million in sales. The idea, and I've seen it over and over again in any fashion category where there is too much depth in products, and so you're no longer making money. I mean, last year I was like really surprised, but we made a profit. Really proud of that. Like, I want to build a real company. Yesteryear it was just like, get VC money, grow. It doesn't matter if you're bleeding money, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that anymore. I never adopted that anyways, but we are really building something that's solid. It has IP behind it. The branding is different. There's a why to the products. It's not just like, we don't need just another thing that looks exactly like 5 other people. We just don't need it. So all of that. And then having said that, there's a lot of great innovation going on with spandex and stretch fabric. So I would like at that point to have all our products be sustainable. Really important to us. I mean, we have some sustainability things happening within the company, just how Nuudii's made. Like, we have very little waste. All of our packaging is made from plants. We have very little returns, which also goes back to sustainability. And we pretty much, and we're not marking down, so it's not like things are going to landfill when it doesn't sell. So that's kind of where I'd like to see us. And I'd like to see us acquired in like 4 years from now, with a good partner. When
you think about, this current round that's on WeFunder, how are the funds being utilized? How does that get you to the next step?
Yeah. So, this past year, because we had to increase our inventory, we had to take out inventory loans. The last round was like a year and a half ago. So we're almost paid off with our inventory loans. I'm so excited about that. We also got to increase our inventory levels by 500% fold because we never wanted to be in that situation where we go viral and we don't have enough merchandise anymore. And it's right on par because we're planning on doing double this year. So the money that we raised from WeFunder is going into basically 2 things: inventory and ad spend. Those are the 2 things that raise the bar. We have a pretty stealth team. We can handle growth for the next year or so. We don't need to do a lot of big hires right now. So those are the main things. If we get our full raise, what I'd like to be able to use some money for is some brand awareness campaigns, which our campaigns, not like every penny has to go to making a sale. So we have not had that, that freedom of just like having a billboard or something like that, gives you a different sort of like, just brand awareness in general.
Annette, thank you so very much for your time and insights today. This has been a really wonderful discussion. I think the proof is in the pudding. The fact that you guys have been able to generate the millions of dollars in sales that you have such wonderful customer feedback, and you're finding a way to build a profitable business this early on, I think only speaks to the fact that you're on the right path. So congratulations on all your success. And for those who want to check them out, you can go to wefunder.com and check them out.